folks, and welcome back to another video. My name is Shah and this is Thoroughly Enjoyed Books. Today I'm bringing you a book haul. I thought it'd be nice to start off the year with kind of a roundup of all the books that I've accumulated over the last few months that I've not been making booktube videos. I have 15 here to show you. I don't know if I'll be able to lift up the stack. Let me try. There are 15 books here for me to show you, and actually I'm quite proud of myself because I think I've read 5 or 6 of them, and a lot of them are quite new. I only got them in the last 6 weeks or so, since December when I started reading again. I haven't got a massive amount of books that I've been buying and just not reading. I haven't really been that interested in book buying and collecting over the last few months. My interest in books had pretty much completely disappeared, I'm not going to lie to you. But I thought it would be a nice way to start off the year by just showing you the books that I have been getting, and when I tell you which ones I've read, you'll see what my mood has kind of been lately. So I'm going to split them into sections because 6 of these books are actually by the same author, and then a few of them I bought at various different times that I can talk to you about. And the first 6 books right here are all by Alice Oseman. So let's talk about those. I am somebody who is really far behind on trends. I don't follow them in general, but I have got here the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th volume of Heartstopper because I got a little bit obsessed with it. I actually watched the TV show before I read any of the graphic novels, and then after I watched the TV show I decided I wanted to read them. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what these are about because I'm pretty sure everyone on BookTube understands and knows what these are about, even if they're not the kind of thing that you would normally read. But these are about 2 queer boys who meet, become best friends and fall in love, and they're really cute. So we have volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, and then I literally just picked up volume 5, which has just come out in the last month or so. So I'm really keen to finally get my hands on this one and give it a read. And then I picked up another 2 Alice Oseman books in the works because they were on sale for £1. So I got Loveless and I Was Born for This, and I have Radio Silence on my shelf as well. Never read it though, but I've had it for a really long time, and I just thought they'd be good for me to pick up. They were £1. I was making my way through Heartstopper, so I knew that they were something that I would be interested in. Loveless is the one of these that I know most about. This is about a teenage girl who is discovering that she might be asexual and the adventure that she goes on figuring this out, which I think will be really interesting because I haven't really read anything really about an asexual character, and I've heard really good things about this one. And then I Was Born for This is about a band, I believe. I don't know too much about this one. I haven't heard many people talking about this one, and I did pick it up because it was £1, and I thought I can't really go wrong with an Alice Oseman. Everybody loves her. I might not have heard about this one, but it's part of her world, so I might as well get it when it's £1 and read it when I want to. And on the same trip that I bought the Alice Oseman books, I also bought My Mechanical Romance by Alexine Farrell-Fulmer. This says it's from the best-selling author of the Atlas 6, who I believe is Olivia Blake, so I think she might write romance novels under a different name. I've never heard anybody talk about this, but something you may not know about me is I really love My Chemical Romance. It's one of my favourite bands, even to this day. I started listening to them nearly 20 years ago. I still listen to them every now and then. I really enjoy their music. So with the play on words in this, I was very much drawn in. I had to pick it up. It is a STEM romance. It is about a girl who is an engineer and she meets a boy, and I guess they fall in love. It's just a little romance, and it's also very short. It's 265 pages. Very short. Should be a very quick read. But if you give me a book that its title is a pun, I will buy it. I will just add it to my collection. Hands down, no issues. I have briefly talked about Good Material by Dolly Alderton. This is a book that I was given for my birthday back in December from one of my good friends. I have read this and I'll be doing a review of this really soon to talk about it, but this is basically about a breakup and dating after a long-term relationship, but it's told from a man's point of view, written by a woman, and it kind of validates how I feel. It's really interesting though. I will talk more about it in a future video, like I already mentioned, but this book was frustrating and annoying, but I really enjoyed it until the end, and I won't go into too much detail about that here. I'm not going to spoil it here. This is a haul rather than anything else. Yeah, it's another Dolly Alderton. I've read most of her books and really enjoyed them, so I was really excited when I got given this for my birthday. I was scrolling on TikTok a few months ago because that's all I do with my time now. I always swore I would never get drawn into TikTok, and it's literally all I bloody well do. But I came across this book that was described as like perfect for fans of normal people, and if you don't know, I am a big Normal People stan. I have several copies of that book in different languages. I adore it. I love it. I love books about relationships and people and their communications and how their relationships change over the course of several years. And I was told that this one was up my alley. I saw loads of people reacting to it and crying, and that is Talking at Night by Claire Daverley. Again, I have read this and I really enjoyed it. This is about Rosie and Will, who are two friends who meet in high school when they're about 17 years old, and it follows them right up until their mid-30s. It's over the course of about 20 years, and it just shows you like the tragedies that happen in their life, how they support or don't support each other through this, and just what their relationship means to one another through everything that happens in their lives. I don't want to say too much other than that. I know that's a very vague synopsis and that sounds like a lot of books, but this is like Normal People mixed with One Day, which is my reading taste to a T. And you can also tell by looking at this cover that it is one of those books. It's got that very minimalist millennial book style. I very rarely pick up hardbacks anymore, so the fact I picked this up in hardback shows how intrigued I was by it by all of those reviews. I also picked up a couple of poetry collections over the last couple of months, the first of which I have already talked about. It's on my TBR for January, and that is Please Do Not Touch This Exhibit by Jen Campbell, which chronicles her experience as a disabled person, her medical treatments, her medical records, and also as somebody with a disability who is trying to get pregnant and the complications of IVF with her disability and her genetics. And it's a really fascinating collection. At this point I don't want to say too much about it because the way I read poetry is quite complicated. I like to read a collection in one go and then I like to go back and reread it. So I have read this once. I am due like my second read to go through and really think about it. I tend to read poetry quite quickly after I buy it as well, just because it's quite quick. And then my favourite poet is Charlie Cox, and she released Nobody Asked for This, and I got a signed copy. So exciting. This is a bind up of her first two collections, which are Validate Me and She Must Be Mad, as well as Nobody Asked for This. So this is all of her currently published work, which I really enjoy Charlie Cox. She is a poet who also lives with bipolar disorder, like me, and I was always drawn to her because of that. As a poet with bipolar disorder myself, I really wanted to read her work, see how she captures her experiences, and she really does influence my poetry as well. So I had already read She Must Be Mad and Validate Me. I was reluctant to really buy this because it's a hardback and I already had the first two books, but I just bought it because it's beautiful, and I don't know if Nobody Asked for This will ever just be released on its own, so having a beautiful hardback, perfect. And then the last four books are just some paperbacks that I picked up here and there. The first of which is Send Nudes by Saba Psalms. This is a collection of short stories. I don't know too much about them, I just know there's 10 stories in here. And again, it is about that millennial life, I believe. Saba Psalms has won several short story competitions, really big short story competitions as well. She won the BBC National Short Story Award and the Edge Hill Short Story Prize. So those are quite big prizes, and that obviously really drew me to this collection. It was the book club pick for my In Real Life book club at some point last year, but unfortunately I didn't get around to it while I was in my massive year-long reading slump. But it's one that I really want to get to now. I really want to have a month where I just kind of focus on short stories because I think they're really fascinating, really interesting to read, and I just don't do enough of it. I also bought Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I bought and read I Almost Do. No, that's a Taylor Swift song. After I Do last year, and really enjoyed it. And I have obviously read Daisy Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, so I've read a few of her books. I have on my shelf Carisoto Is Back, and somewhere I have Malibu Rising, but I've just noticed it's not on my shelf, so I don't know where it is. But I really like Taylor Jenkins Reid. Her backlist has recently been published. I think this is about a couple who get married, but their marriage is like really cut short by the fact that a week or so after the wedding, he dies. And that just sounds horrific and sad and emotional, but it's also the kind of thing that I like to read. We all know that I love books that just stab you in the heart. So I'm looking forward to giving this one a read and see what happens. I want to cry. I want to like cry ugly tears. I want mascara streaming down my face. Because that's what happened with After I Do. And then the last two books are ones I picked up just before Christmas. The first of which is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is the third Ali Hazelwood book that I picked up, but I think it's her fourth book that is out, or maybe even her fifth if you include her short stories. This is her first YA, and it is about Mallory, who is a chess fanatic. She loves playing chess. After a few years away from the chess scene, she finds herself drawn back in and falls in love along the way with, I'm awful with names, Nolan. And I'm awful with names. Even when I was reading this book, I kept calling him Noah. Like in my head, he was Noah the whole way through. As I've just spoiled there, I have already read this one. I read it just before Christmas. So if you want to hear my thoughts on this and any of the other Ali Hazelwood books, then let me know. I have read two of her other books. I read The Love Hypothesis and second one, Love on the Brain. I have not yet got around to Love Theoretically, but I did read this one, and as a YA book, I quite enjoyed it. And then the last book I'm going to talk to you about today, I bought to read over the Christmas period, and I just didn't get around to it. And I think I'm going to just have to wait until next Christmas now, and that is Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. Now, I've heard a few people say that this isn't necessarily a massively Christmassy book, even though it is set on a Christmas tree farm. So if you have read this one, let me know what the verdict is on that. I don't want to have to wait until next Christmas to read this, just because I bought it for a Christmas read and didn't get around to it. But if it is Christmassy, I obviously want to read it at Christmas time. But I just know if I don't read it, I probably will not read it next Christmas either, if that makes any sense. Again, this is just another romance. I believe it's fake dating, so two like really good friends or best friends pretend that they're dating to enter a contest, I think. I think this might be Taylor Swift and Taylor Jenkins Reid fanfiction, because it's a Christmas tree farm, but there's a character called Evelyn St. James, and I think of Christmas tree farms, I think of Taylor Swift, and when I think of Evelyn and St. James, I think of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Am I just like making stuff up? I don't know. But this was the last book that I picked up. I picked this up alongside Check and Mate in a supermarket deal where you get like 2 for £9, and they were my Christmas reads. Those are all of the books that I have accumulated while I've been away. And since I've come back, I did buy most of the Alice Oseman ones in the last week or so. I just went a little bit overboard. I want to make sure that I'm not just buying books for the sake of buying books this year. So I'm not planning on making a lot of book hauls. I want to shop my shelves. I want to read the books I already have. I want to like regain my excitement for some that have been sat there for months and months and months. Or years and years and years even. And I won't acknowledge that. We'll just leave that in the past. Those are all the books that I have to talk to you about today. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books, and if you have, what did you think of them? If you have made it to this point of the video and want to let me know that you're here but don't have anything in particular to say, just leave me an emoji down below. Any emoji that you want. It can be a stack of books or it can be a coloured heart, whatever you may desire. I'll also leave my links down below to my Instagram and my Storygraph and all that good stuff, so you can come and follow me on there and talk to me more about books. And I'll see you in another video very, very soon. Take care. Bye.